again, more questions that plague Sam.
Yeah.
Serious questions.
Oh, yeah, always serious.
So, Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Sorry, what was the first bit?
Sally.
Sally.
Yeah, Sally sells seashells
I've
by the
never heard of
seashore.
that.
Have you not? It's a
No.
tongue twister. But she sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's brilliant marketing or if it's terrible marketing.
Uh-huh.
Because you're right where people are who are in desire of seashells. However, you're right, you're on the seashore. So you already have access to seashells for free.
So true.
It's deep, man.
So it's like selling coal in a coal mine.
Exactly. People are there looking for coal, so sure, you're doing great, but people already got access to coal.
They got access to coal, but you've got it ready to go. So she's got the seashells ready to go.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's a small amount of
if
value
I'm
to
around,
have,
I've got to like search for them.
Yeah.
People used to trade in seashells, by the way.
Really? Wow. I would love to ask more about that, but
Yeah.
that's enough for a sound check. Okay. Hi there. Welcome to Director's Debrief, Season 2,
Season 2.
Episode 1.
As if they said yes to us having a season 2.
I know, the producers.
Yeah, the producers. It was a tough decision.
There was no bribery involved, I swear.
Nothing at all,
No
but
bribery.
it was like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
They even what was it? We were 2 episodes in. They said, "Yep, season 2 is happening."
We signed.
Boom. Yeah.
No, are you excited? You're excited for Season 2 because I'm really excited.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how we go. Yeah.
Quick introduction about Season 2. I think you describe it a bit more eloquently than I did, but Season 2, we're changing the format. Last year was 52 episodes of us finding our feet, getting comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And this year, what are we doing? Tell the people.
We're absolutely ready to dominate.
Yeah, 100%.
Always. No, we are. Now the episodes are going to be a bit more from the heart.
Yeah.
Real life perspectives and stories. Hopefully that other people are going through.
Yeah.
And there'll be recurring themes as well. Yeah. So it could be all the way from physical health to kind of like general motivation, education, like what are you doing, self-help, all of that stuff. We'll be covering a variety of topics and new topics.
Yeah.
But it comes from our own experiences and what worked for us and what didn't.
That's it. That's the bit that really caught my attention. And we touch on this in the end of the last season, but I think it's basically all the good decisions that you and I have made as young men.
And all the bad ones.
And all the bad ones.
Yeah.
What we've learned from them. And to sort of help people bypass some of the heartache, some of the pain that comes with it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because of what we're going to talk about today, but there is an element of you have to find out for yourself a little bit, but use this as perspective before you do.
Yeah.
So for some examples, we're going to be talking about physical health, mental health, foods that are good for you, supplements that are good for you, where you should invest your money. Not in terms of like, the S&P 500, but you should invest in your mental health. You should invest in your physical health. These aren't things you should be thinking you can get away without.
Yeah.
They're really important for you.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of this is going to go be our aha moments, right? Those moments where we're like, wow, that works. And all we're trying to do, none of this is advice, but it's to give our perspective so that people can probably get to that aha moment sooner.
Yeah.
Or when they do, it makes a lot more sense for them.
That's it. I think it's about being able to easier identify the aha moment. Because now that I'm thinking about the topic we're talking about today is sort of physical health.
Yeah, sure.
And around that. But my aha moment, I've only realized looking back maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So hopefully the sooner you identify your aha moment, you can double down on it.
Absolutely. And you keep having them as well, right?
All the time.
You keep veering in and out of them. So physical health.
Yeah.
Is it important to you?
To me, it is so important. It's gradually grown in importance for me over the years. And recently it is...
Where did it start?
Now it's like number 3, number 2 in all of life's priorities. Okay, not that high, but it's high. It's in top 5 for sure. And there was definitely for a long period of time where it was, barely made the top 15.
Yeah,
top 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's climbed up the ranks quite significantly for me.
Okay, so why was it in the top 15, and where give us an age? When do you think it was in the top 15? You have to start after 10 probably, right?
Yeah. It went up and down. There was a point in time where it was really low in the list of priorities. I think this was a younger and naiver Sam, where, you're 16, 17, you can eat takeout every single day, or you can eat unhealthy. I had a job quite early on, so I was eating unhealthy because I went to college from 9 to 4 and I worked 5 to 9.
Okay.
So on the route, I'd pick up something super unhealthy.
Yeah.
But I was...
What would that be?
Like a chicken burger. Chicken burger and chips. So fried stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would get... I would get unhealthy food and I wouldn't gain weight.
Right.
Physically, I didn't feel I didn't look any different. So I thought, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And when I look back, I can see patterns of that building for years and years and years of me eating unhealthily, not putting on weight, and thinking everything is fine.
Yeah.
But deep down, I lacked energy. I lacked, I sweat. I was just constantly sweating. Yeah. I don't know why. I was just constantly sweating.
Right.
But I just generally felt unwell, and I didn't feel like I had mentally, it affected me mentally too. And again, not towards illness or anything like that, but it again sort of impacted motivation. When you don't have the energy to do anything, it's way easier to just kick back and I don't want to, I can't be bothered.
Right.
Okay. That's at its low.
So I mean, we're talking about in physical fitness and so on. There's a few different aspects. One of them is food, what you're eating, and obviously one of them is the physical exercise you do, the movements you do, and so on there. So I say as a kid, you were naturally getting a fair amount of movement. You're just playing sports or whatever at school, running around, doing whatever. Yeah. You naturally get it, which keeps you lean, right?
And all your friends are just taking you places. Like, let's go play football, let's go play basketball, let's cycle over there. Yeah. There's just constant excuses to go out and do it.
You're kind of doing that on autopilot in a way. Yeah. Like, you may be interested in playing football, but you're doing it because everyone else is doing it. You're doing it there, and it's not really pushing you out of your comfort zone. So you're doing physical exercise without much intention. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a different word. But intention.
Intention. Sure. Let's go with that. So that means that you're naturally staying in good shape because you're a kid, which naturally that's the way our bodies work. But you're just because of what you're doing, which means in turn you think you can eat whatever you want and nothing's going to change for you because you are different to someone who is overweight or obese. And you've seen that as a kid, right? You see other people who are like that, but you don't think you're going to be that. Because they do other things, or you don't even question how they're even overweight in the first place. Yeah,
definitely. You mentioned you had a story you wanted to kick this off with.
Yeah, I mean, I know we both got a bit of a background. And kind of when we had our aha moment. But it's a story I've not really told many people. Because I just don't know. It's an time of life that I really tried to put behind me. And when you do that, you try and get rid of any evidence that it even exists. So I was probably about growing up as a kid, I'm talking like before the age of 10 or before the age of 8, very slim Indian kid, just rolling around quite bony, nothing really gone. And I'm not sure when it happened, but as a vegetarian, as a kid, so I made a decision to become a vegetarian around the age of 7. Okay. There's a variety of reasons. People often question that I made it myself, but 100% myself. I remember my parents saying I shouldn't, or they were questioning why, and I decided. So with a vegetarian diet, it can be very carby if you're not careful. And I think as a kid, I went very much down that route. So, we have paneer in Indian food, it's Indian cheese. I was a huge fan of stuff like that, potatoes, so on. But I really went beyond the whole balance between physical exertion and actually eating. And I was I was very much into my food. I loved it. I remember desserts, anything. I was really big into it. I love my food to this day. But without me knowing as a kid, because you never realize it, you're not looking in the mirror as a kid really, just other than just shove something in your hair or something. You're carrying on. But quickly over time, I went from that fairly skinny Indian little kid to quite a overweight kid, like 10-year-old to 12-year-old. That was a real time where I was genuinely, you're looking at the photos, that was a time when I was genuinely overweight.
At the time, was it on your mind as well?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
Didn't have a clue. Didn't even think I was overweight at all.
Okay.
That was the crazy thing. I was in my own world. My brother would tell me now and then, but I thought I just laugh it off.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, shut up. Like, yeah, no one's. He was a very skinny. I guess I'm allowed to. Yeah, I can say that about him. He was very skinny as a teenager.
Okay.
So we were completely different at that time because he's 4 years older than me. Yeah. So he was, in his teens, and I was 12, and people didn't think we were siblings. That was how different we looked. Which is quite funny now because we get the opposite thought process.
Yeah, you guys are pretty similar.
Fairly similar.
Very easy to identify your brothers.
Yeah, before it was not possible.
Okay.
Not at all. So yeah, I'll show you the photos, but yeah, crazy difference. So I was going through that. I didn't know I was chubby. Didn't know that, and then the comments start getting made.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, it almost felt like suddenly people were like calling me chubby and stuff like that. And I never realized this was going on. So this was probably when I was 12. Okay. So I was just around year 7, year 8 time. I think that's about right. Yeah. And little comments came. I went to an all-boys school, so you get little comments and so on. And you rub it off kind of because it doesn't mean much. But then it starts to get to you. And you're like, wow, people are saying this. But I felt that my weight was similar to the color of my skin or the color of my eyes. It was who I was. And there was nothing I could do about it.
You identified as a fat kid.
That was it.
Okay.
and I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. That was who I was.
Yeah, sure.
Whilst I was going away, eating all the food I was doing, I hadn't put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
And it seems crazy, but come on, I was 12. I was 11, 12. And I didn't realize that me consuming led to me remaining this chubby kid.
It's very indicative of what people are talking about now, of like a fixed mindset. This is what I am. Not this is what I am right now, or anything can change. Just this is what I am.
Yeah.
Which I would say you're completely the opposite of now. But it's curious and very interesting to hear that, back then you had quite a fixed mindset. That's something you identified as.
And I mean, people would tell me to you get the odd joker saying lose some weight or whatever. I mean, it wasn't crazy thing, but for any kid, it's a bit too much to take. And I went through that whole process, and I was thinking, I need to change something. Yeah. I still didn't do anything about it because I didn't know I could change it. I was very upset. I think there was a period where it was like every day I remember hearing a comment, and it was just getting to me so much.
So you're hearing these comments, right?
Yeah.
And is it so far removed from you that this is something you have any domain over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, okay, cool.
And maybe I started to understand that I could get there. Yeah. People who do exercise and so on. I remember watching iRobot.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Crazy. This is just a memory that I have.
Yeah.
And Bill Gates? Will Smith's opening scene, he's like absolutely ripped. Yeah. And he's just going in. I remember watching it. Yeah, I remember watching it, and one of the family members was like, someone's been working out. And I was like, what do you mean? I thought everyone looks like that. Everyone gets to look like that when you age to a certain level where you just look absolutely jacked. And they were like, no, he's been working out. Mm-hmm. And that got to me. I was like, oh, he's put some work in to get there? Okay. You don't just look like that. It's not like you turn 25 and you're absolutely in the best shape of your life.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Up until this point, what you were saying, I respected that was your perspective, but it wasn't making any sense to me. Until I realized something. I've just put 2 and 2 together. Uh-huh. So I have the same situation.
Yeah.
And somebody kept telling, I think it was my sister, about Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
About how he lost baby fat on his face.
Yeah.
So I think in a similar way, I was just like, so I'll just wait for the baby fat to drop.
Right. It will just happen, right? Yeah. I don't know if this was part of like my upbringing, your upbringing, where you just assume things just happen, or is it just a kid's naivety that you just think, I'll get taller as I go on. I'm not going to be 1 foot for the rest of my life or whatever, right? That could happen. But it's that. So I think a few things started to come together, and I remember it so clearly and vividly. Yeah. It was all there, and I was like, oh, he put work in to become fit, and then that will mean the comments stop, or no one's really going to say anything, and do that. And I hid the fact that I even had comments, even when I lost my weight, because to me, I didn't want anyone to know that was my reason. But obviously, there's always underlying things that get to you. But basically, my parents had a rowing machine in their house,
Oh, cool.
That no one really used. I think underlying they bought it for me,
Oh.
but they never said it.
Had a meeting behind closed
Yeah,
doors,
I
did
feel
they?
there was something there, but I just never used it.
Yeah.
And I decided, as a very stubborn kid, it's one of the reasons I turned vegetarian very early on. And I decided I was going to get on that rowing machine and do 10 minutes every day.
Okay.
Right? Not much, but 10 minutes every day.
That's smart for a kid.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you think you can solve it overnight. People still think
I think I tried. I think I tried. I think
Right.
I cut that. So, yeah, I'd heard comments. I started to read a little bit about it. Yeah. But again, like, just, I don't know, reading random things. And without fail, I think for something like 3 or 4 months straight, I did not have a day without touching that rowing machine.
Yeah?
Yeah, and my parents were a bit worried that I veered the complete other way.
Yeah.
I started to go on runs with my dad because my dad used to go jogging in the morning.
Oh, cool.
Started to join him. Used to have to wake up at whatever 6:30 for a kid. That's just annoying. Yeah. If anyone, that's annoying. And yeah, so go for little runs with him. Started to reduce my portion sizes because I remember someone telling me that you can just have 1 Weetabix rather than 2, which really started to impact things. And I remember all my goal was I had a little belly, as a kid, not a huge amount, but enough for me at the time. I just wanted that to keep going in, and I just kept watching it. Yeah. And as a kid, you're benefited by the fact you can lose weight pretty easily.
Yeah.
Put in some stuff. Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening this far. If you have made it this far, you'll know that we're not actually sponsored by Huel, but maybe in the future. But please don't forget to subscribe, do what you can do to push this episode forward and our future episodes coming forward. But look forward to the next one. I have photos from the beginning of my year 8 to the end of my year 8, and I look like a completely different person.
Sick.
Yeah, and yeah, it was crazy. It was quite ridiculous at the time. You see all those family members who just what have you done? All of this. And yeah, it's, I guess what the thing from there is I had that aha moment and I realized, I need to put work in to get to this position and that will stop that. And it's in my control.
To get to that aha realization now, it doesn't sound like it was one thing. It sounded like a few things built up.
That's
so
right.
What are some of the bullet points here? If you were to summarize this, what would you say were the aha moments for you to realize that you needed to get into shape?
I needed to realize that my current habits were keeping me where I was.
Okay.
So just like you said, your chicken burger every day after that.
Pick it up en route.
You need to realize what you're currently doing is not good for you, and that's what's causing you to be where you are. Yeah. So forget what changes you're going to make to your strategy. It's okay. This is not working for me. So I needed that firstly aha moment. I needed the realization from others that I was in this position. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's fat phobic" and stuff like that.
It's a hot topic right now, fat shaming, right?
Yeah, that's it. And funny enough, I feel like I can talk about this because I went through it.
Yeah.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, maybe there's some underlying scars that are still there, but it was the best thing because it made me realize that I was there. I think I say my brother's probably one of the biggest to thank or not to thank.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's being more aware of where you are. Yeah. And sometimes we're not so self-aware, so having others to reflect on, I guess is the healthier way of putting it, is quite nice. But making sure it doesn't break you, and making sure you use that energy to...
So I'm curious, did your motivations change at any point? Because I'm assuming at one point, your motivation stemmed from you don't like yourself and you don't like the vision that other people were giving on you, the impression you had on other people. Yeah. You don't like that people are calling you overweight, chubby, fat. Yeah. But also you don't like being overweight, chubby, and fat. Yeah. So at some point you're working out to remove that. Yeah. At any point did it change? Did your motivations change? Maybe more recently, shall we say, in your adult life? Did you change any reason why you go work out or anything?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So that was a very temporary period of I don't want to look how I looked before. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then it turned into consistency of I don't want to get back to where I was before. Right. So I'm going to do everything to maintain and watch what I'm doing, but I'm not trying to lose weight now. Yeah, I thought it was a bit dangerous. I literally, it was a couple of stone at the time. It was for a kid, that's a lot. And so it was like, I don't want to go back to where I was. So I'm going to start continuing to run, maintaining what I look for. And I think that's definitely ingrained in me to this day. Yeah. But I'll say that it didn't just mean that I continued to stay on a path of healthy eating and healthy living for the rest of my life. I did go through this period, as we said, you'd veer in and out. I went to uni and I probably didn't look after my health as well. And that reflected in how I felt and so on. And you get back into that aha moment. And it's like continuous realization as you're going on. Where I am now is...
Hold on to that, because I want to exchange ideas on where you are now when I tell you about where I am now.
Can we go through you? I don't know if you've got a...
So that's the thing. I wanted to hear your perspective on the matter. I want to share mine. And then at the end, let's talk about where we are right now.
Sounds good,
Because I think we work out... I mean, you work out a bit more than me.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Your gym subscription says otherwise. But for very different... We work out similar amounts.
Yeah.
But I feel like for different motivations, that kind of align sometimes. But let's talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I was a chubby kid, but I think it's kind of just within Middle Eastern and Arab culture to make comments like that.
Okay.
But this is where...
How old were you when you were going through this?
I don't know. I would say... It's hard to remember much of what happened when I was... Because I grew up in Sweden up until the age of 8. I remember a lot about that part of my life, but I don't really remember what people thought of me. I had but probably from the ages of 8 through to 12, 13. I would say I was quite chubby.
Yeah.
But it's quite common within Arab and Middle Eastern culture to rip into one another, and to just kind of poke jokes. And it's all usually meant with love.
Yeah.
But I was always sort of envious of when I was in school of the other kids that were sort of in shape or athletic or good at sports.
Right.
Because I played a lot of sports. I was generally pretty bad at most of them.
But you enjoyed it,
Yeah, so I wasn't particularly good at football, but my cousin played football all the time, so I'd go and play with him. Basketball was my thing. It was something where the baseline was sort of mediocrity.
Okay.
Football, I started off terrible.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had to work twice as hard to get to be average.
Yeah.
But basketball, I started off as okay. So I was like, I can get into this, I can play more of this. But weight, my physical appearance was never sort of at the forefront of where I sort of was. I had other insecurities in other departments, but weight wasn't particularly sort of one of them. Yeah. But I was never where I sort of wanted to be. I suppose...
So you're talking about comments and things people made. Did anyone ever call you chubby, or did that never really?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a bit of a... there's an Arabic word for debduba.
Okay.
It's tubby.
Yeah, all right.
Fat teddy bear.
Little teddy bear.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was always kind of seen as a positive thing.
Yeah.
It was a cute teddy bear kind of impression that you sort of say. So I don't know how much of the influence came from externally. Because like I said, I was never in the best shape. I was never hanging out with the cool kids with the six packs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, nobody sort of called me out on it. But I do remember seeing, during that phase of my life, if we're talking about youth, during that phase of my life, I came across a website called 16 Week Abs.
Okay.
There's this dude in Peru just filming videos of him just doing 10 burpees and then jump to squats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I used to do that at home. And there's so many times of where I'm in the bedroom and my dad walks in and I'm just jumping and then I slam the laptop as if I was watching some, slap the laptop shut and no, I'm not doing anything. I was ashamed of working out. It was really weird. But yeah, I just always...
Why were you ashamed?
Huh?
Why were you ashamed?
Don't know. It's a good question, actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you think someone would say no?
No. Do you know what I think it was? I was really embarrassed at trying. Putting in the effort. Because if I gave up, they're like, ha, look at that schmuck. He tried so hard and he failed.
So you didn't even want them to know you were trying?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Right? I just kind of wanted to... I didn't want anyone to... I didn't want to give anyone the opportunity to think I failed. So no one could know I ever started.
Oh, look, he's done it for 7 days and then he's
exactly.
given up.
Yeah.
Did you feel that in other things that you used to do?
In a lot of things, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of dots connecting here. Yeah. Harvey made a funny comment where I sing a lot. I'm a free spirit. I sing and I dance all around the office.
I know.
But it's funny because I always start off really high pitched.
Yeah.
And I don't have a high pitched voice.
Okay.
So I start off really high pitched. And Harvey made the joke of like, why are you always starting so high? Do you know why? Because from the get go, you need to know I'm joking. You need to know I'm not trying. That's why it's like, I never want like
Oh, and then you get good. But you don't want people.
I've not been practicing singing, unfortunately. That's not something I'm busting out at your wedding.
Wow, that's deep.
But I think that's been kind of a commonality in my life for a while. And just a quick side note from the podcast. If you've made it this far and you're listening on somewhere like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave a rating for us. It really, really helps us out. And if you're on YouTube, then please like and subscribe. It really, really does help. Thank you. Like, you can't know I'm trying. I have to get really good before I start presenting something to you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, holy crap, that impacts quite a few elements of my life.
Do you think that's like from childhood, or?
I'm trying to think back to like the root cause of it, but I can't seem to find anything. If I do along this season,
that's
I'll bring
really
it up.
Interesting because it's crazy how that can be in so many, like even something as you singing in the
office.
office.
Yeah, and the fact that I still do it, not so much with health and fitness, but now I think back, I don't take it well when I'm physically like, I don't know. So it's an interesting insecurity of mine that we've sort of unlocked.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just put that in a box for now.
Yeah, let's repress that like I have successally done over the past few years.
But we'll bring it back later.
But if we're bringing it back in terms of physical health, in terms of, I did try and like in secret workout, and then me and my cousin used to go running. So we I told him, I was like, dude, help me get into shape. He's always been like ripped from like birth. I think he was born with a six pack.
If your cousin is how old?
He was always, I think he's like 4 years older than me, 5 years older than me.
So you'd always look at him like, this guy's just...
Well, he was also very very talented at football too. So he's the guy I went to play football with. So he was very talented at football. So he kind of, and he was sort of, he's one of these people that can sort of can run unlimited amounts.
Yeah, sure.
So I used to go running with him. And then I started, and he was very supportive in terms of like, I remember when we were trying to, like, I was trying to lose weight and stuff in terms of eating healthy, and he was making sure I was eating tuna and, the high protein, good stuff. But nothing stuck, man. Like, nothing stuck until recently. Like, you've known me the entirety of the time where I've taken my physical health seriously. Because, big chunk of my time where I smoked, big chunk of my life where I smoked, and it was during that time where I was eating unhealthily too. But I still felt okay, and that's when I started to sort of put on weight. Yeah. But for me, it's the thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of like physical health is it's very rarely been about looks for me. I've always been able to easily fluctuate between weight. Yeah. So I can look skinny and I can look fat quite easily. Sure. I can't look toned and in good shape that easily. It takes a lot of work and effort. But the one thing that I did learn from my journey, my youth journey of fluctuating health, is gaining this confidence that whenever I wanted to, I could do it. Yeah. So for the month that I tried really hard running with my cousin, eating tuna, all that stuff, I did actually lose weight. Wow. I was looking in the mirror and I was like, okay, this is cool. But then I gave up. Yeah. I could never stick it out with for anything consistent.
Why did you give up?
I think it was complacency. I was like, that's okay. Yeah. That's not too bad.
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I'm fine here. But also it kind of, I'll be honest, I think it caused some tensions with like family, because my dad would or my mum would put so much effort into cooking this meal. Yeah. And like offering food in Middle Eastern culture is such a huge expression of love. And yeah, it was kind of, I felt almost ungrateful. Like my mum used to put, still does, put so much passion in food because it's something she's offering up to her kids. Same with my dad. I mean, my dad's a great cook. He just doesn't claim he is. Okay. But it's just this.
It's very difficult for you to kind of cut back, I guess.
To turn it down,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to turn down that food. But that was like 30% of the reason.
Okay, so it was never aesthetic.
I wouldn't say never.
Okay, it was okay.
So I'll tell you what, it was almost entirely aesthetic, but it was never aesthetic has never been the thing that kept me in it.
Interesting.
Right? Because my latest run of caring about my health is probably the longest I've ever been on. And it hasn't come from an aesthetic point.
What's it come from?
It's come from energy levels and just like a... You want to know my aha moment? Was about 6 months in consistently taking Huel. Right, consistently drinking Huel, consistently getting probably all the nutrients that come with it, and starting to eat a little bit cleaner at home. Aesthetics was like 20% of it. I'm not going to lie. I did look in the mirror and go, I actually like what I'm seeing here. Let's try and double down on this. But it was the fact that I suddenly went from like dragging my ass to work, dragging my ass home, to like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go do this. Let's go to work. I'm full of energy.
Wow.
There were other factors too.
Yeah.
I was much more happier and, in the work that I was doing.
Sure. But you naturally felt this energy ball. Yeah.
So that was my aha moment. It was feeling better and feeling energized and like, I've talked about making the most of life in a previous podcast, but it was the fact that I wanted to now, and I felt like I could.
So I guess there we had a similar moment in the fact, obviously different timelines and so on, but that we realized the food that we were actually eating was leading to these outcomes, right? Aesthetics, how you felt, the energy you had, whatever, it was leading there. And I think when people think about physical health, they often straight away think of what you're lifting, what you're benching. Funnily enough, what we were just talking about before this podcast, what you're benching. But and again, to not sound like a repeat of every other fitness guru out there, but I still think it's underrated how important your food is to the outcomes that are coming there. The physical exertion is secondary to your physical health. It's about what you're eating, when you're eating it, the consistency of your eating, and so on. And
I suppose the commonality between both our stories is diet. Well, nutrition, essentially. Right.
And I guess that comes down to the fact, well, I know you love your food, and I do too, right? And there's nothing wrong there. No. But it's about knowing the balance between enjoying and indulging. And I think that's something I veer in and out of, but I'd say on the whole, since I was 12, I've gotten the balance okay. Because I've figured out that it can't go too far, because it leads to the outcome I don't want.
Since you're wow, okay. For me, it's definitely like, when did we meet? When I was like 23?
Right.
That's when I think it really
you had your aha
me.
moment.
Well, that's when I realized how much an impact it has on me. Suddenly when you're, again, this is going to sound like it's really hard to not talk about an advert for Huel when you're talking about Huel. But it is that just feeling more nourished, having more of the right stuff in you, and then obviously not eating takeaway every night. That's what I've subconsciously felt. Do you know something that I consciously heard? And again, it was from a cheesy Instagram influencer. But he says, this relationship with food will change your mind forever. Eat foods because of how they make you feel, not because of how they taste. And I think that applies to everyone. Because I think this is a minority of people. But there are some people out there that probably eat food and that will give them more joy than the feeling of, whatever the alternative can offer them. I think that's a small minority of people. So I think what we're addressing here is that the majority of people will probably feel a lot better physically and maybe mentally too. If they chose foods depending on how the 4 hours after they've eaten they would feel.
Interesting.
Because everyone can eat a whole pizza to themselves and it's fantastic for 20 minutes. But then you have to deal with 4 hours of, all of that salt consumption, all of the, especially if you have like a meat pizza, all of that grease and fat.
It's in you. It's inside you.
That carbohydrates inside you takes longer to break down. And suddenly you start to feel groggy for 4 hours.
Okay, question.
Go ahead.
Crash diet's good or bad?
What's a crash diet?
Like keto? Immediate change in your diet. Like, I went on a holiday, I'm going to come back and just eat chicken and rice. I'm going to cut out chocolate. I wouldn't say that's a crash diet, but it's very drastic changes.
Only good if you're trying to meet an objective. like fighters do this. Ultimately, fighters in the UFC need to meet weight requirements, or like people racing in motorsport, they need a combined weight of a certain amount of kilos.
Yeah.
So it's really effective in doing that. To like, I will cut down my diet, try to get to, I'm fighting in under 80s. I need to be 79 kilos. But every time I've done it, I shoot straight back up to my normal weight.
Yeah.
Your habits may put you at a baseline. And so if you diet, sure, but I immediately go back to my baseline.
Yeah.
And it goes the other way around for me too, by the way. I went on holiday to Jordan for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I put on 8 kilos whilst I was out there.
Okay.
Because their food's very indulgent.
Yep.
Creamy, fatty, heavy.
I love it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's delicious. But I shot up I think 7 or 8 kilos.
Okay, yeah.
And when I came back, I naturally lost that weight.
So you came back to your baseline. Yeah.
I came back to my baseline.
So are you suggesting then, say someone who's trying to make more conscious changes, but over a period of time, like I want to be healthy, I want to be fitter.
Yeah.
You'd say adjust your baseline?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And how do you do that?
I think you touched on a really good point there, where you need to understand where you're at the moment. I'll tell you how I did it. My baseline changed drastically when I went from not eating breakfast. This is when I lived in London. I didn't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
I would have a canteen lunch, which is I would rank on like the middle of the road in terms of healthiness. And then dinner was, when I lived in London, pretty much every night was takeaway.
Yeah.
So that was towards the very unhealthy end of the scale. When I moved to Leicester, I didn't particularly have much money coming in on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Much of a monthly income. So I started to eat pot noodles, and that's when you referred me to Huel. So my baseline changed when I started drinking Huel, because suddenly I started to I learned what a macronutrient is. I learned about carbs, fats, and protein.
Yeah.
And then that started to make an impact on me because I started to lose weight. So yeah, I think.
So when you started to learn about macronutrients and so on, did you start thinking then every time you were buying food, what you were buying? Or has that happened, or do you do that?
I do that now.
When did that happen?
When I had a goal. So maybe this is it. Not a goal for your outcome of how much weight you lose, but what you consume. I have a goal now of 150 grams of protein per day.
Interesting.
So that's why I think about it. Like every egg I eat, I'm like, that's 9 grams per egg. A chicken breast is X amount.
Yeah.
Huel is 30.
So it's made you more disciplined when you're food shopping, when you're out to eat. You're thinking of that.
Yeah. How would you change your baseline?
I think it's incremental changes.
Okay.
So it's making slight adjustments to things. I'll give you, sounds like I'm an old person, but sugar in your tea or coffee.
Yeah.
That would be my start. Yeah. I did it for my parents. I've been telling them for years and years. I think you have a cup of tea a day, 365 teaspoons a year minimum. If you have 2, you're over 720 teaspoons a year at a minimum. Come on. Have a think of what that's doing. And the fact is, with sugar in your tea or coffee, is it when you remove it for a period of time, you won't like it, but then you become adjusted to it. So that's like adjusting your baseline of taste and expectation. And for me, those are incremental changes I'd recommend, because yes, I guess I did crash diet to a certain extent. I cut my portions and so on. But the thing that's worked for me longer term is not that. That kind of just brought me to a whole new baseline. Yeah. The only way I was able to hold it there was making little adjustments going forward. Like, maybe actually I'm going to go back to 2 Weetabix, but I'm going to limit me adding honey to my Weetabix or so on. And it's just making incremental changes. I think that's healthier. I don't like the idea of cutting out anything unless you're really, really addicted or anything, and you have to, that's the only way you can stop. Yeah. People do that with smoking. They say, I'm just going to cut it out tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
That is fair. But if it's small things that you enjoy over time, just reduce what you're doing, and you'll start, again, without trying to cheesy, you start to appreciate it more. Like when you're having a chicken burger every day, I know you probably didn't have it every day, but say you were, probably weren't even enjoying it anymore, right? It just all tastes the same. But you have a chicken burger like once every few months, but that tastes good.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's quite a nice perspective to have. So that's what I'd be doing. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking, and I'm very scared because of diverting into like hacks and top 10 tips, and this is how you do it, because they never worked for me. But it's small incremental changes, I think, is the biggest thing. A really good book around this is Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he talks about some of the negative, like some dieting is sort of habitual.
Right.
And my brother, this is one thing I've been fortunate in my whole life, is people around me have cared about the foods that they eat. So I've always had a lot of like quite good information around me. Yeah. Not good actions by me, but the information around me was good. So I remember just speaking to my brother about how habitual sometimes food can be. And actually growing up in a Muslim family, the thing that I learned, like once for a month out of the year, you fast. Yeah. I remember that. And then I remember my brother telling me how habitual sometimes food is, whereby like sometimes you eat just because it's lunchtime, right? And how, and there's research to back this up, but like how a fast, a longer term fast can, with water, not a dry fast, but a long term fast can help with like mental clarity. Sure. And how it can help you think clearer. I've actually contemplated doing this, but again, I don't want to lose any sort of mass, but I'm
interested to hear about that. I've heard a lot of evidence out there about fasting.
Yeah, but there's so much around food and being attached to a habit. Yeah, and it's about identifying. I guess the one thing that I would say is maybe identifying the habit. Definitely for me, ordering takeaway every night was a habit. That was a routine. It was a like I'd feel weird when I didn't do it. It was
almost like the most obvious thing you needed to change, but it wasn't obvious to you.
I felt uncomfortable when I deleted the apps off my phone. Wow. Like it was really weird. It's very addictive and sort of habitual.
So Deliveroo gone?
What now?
Off your app?
No, not anymore. But back then, I could kind of see it was a problem. I was like, I'm ordering every night. I'm running out of money. I'm feeling very unhealthy. So I delete the app and that will stop me. But I wasn't ready. I didn't have any food at home. I hadn't done any shopping, so I have to download it again.
Sam of 23.
Yeah.
If he was sitting in front of you right now.
Yeah.
And he was keen to listen.
Yeah.
Right. He was keen to listen about advice of what it takes to get to where you are at the moment and where he wants to go. What would be your top 3 tips to him?
Yeah. I'd say, listen here, you little piece of
lard.
Do you know what I would say to him? I'd say to him, there's so much that you can do, that you can feel, and there's so much more time in a day. Right? So, of course, everybody gets the same 24 hours. Cancelled me.
Yeah.
Everybody gets the same 24 hours. But my 24 hours are so different from my 23-year-old self's 24 hours. That schmuck was waking up, was dragging himself out of bed at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then he was dragging himself to the shower, dragging himself to work, occasionally dragging himself to the gym, and then dragging himself home. And it was just this rut and this cycle of a bunch of bad habits.
Right.
And I would tell him, look, it doesn't have to be like that.
Okay.
You can I woke up at 6 a.m. today and I felt fantastic. Yeah. I also had bad sleeping habits, but we'll discuss sleep in depth.
Sure.
I'd tell him, look, it doesn't have to be like that. You can wake up feeling good and feeling energized. You can you can feel good after eating food. Eating food isn't the closing chapter of the day. You can have dinner and then you can go and play video games. You can go and do a bit of work or go to the gym, work out. That's not the end of the day. And all you have to do to achieve all of that is drink Huel. No, I'm kidding. Sponsor us. No.
And here's my referral code.
No, all you have to do in order to do that is educate yourself. Not a lot. Don't become an expert, by the way.
Sure.
Understand 2 or 3 core principles. Don't eat this. Eat plenty of this.
Yeah.
And.
But why should he?
Huh?
Why should he?
Why should he? Okay, here's an interesting one. It's not about why he should. It's about the consequences of what will happen if he doesn't. And I learned that very recently. I learned that very recently when, unfortunately, my grandfather was ill for a relatively long period of time, about 2 months, and he stayed in the hospital. Now, obviously, he's considerably older than me, but when he came out of the hospital, his muscles had atrophied so much that he struggled to move.
Yeah.
Now, muscles atrophy regardless of age. It's just about what rate it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting here talking to you right now, I feel comfortable. There's no backache. There's no leg ache.
Yeah.
Even at 23, 24, because I wasn't working out, because I was just lounging about, like actually just sitting down I remember sitting down on the tube, standing up on the tube. It just felt uncomfortable because I wasn't working out my muscles at all.
Yeah.
They were getting weaker and weaker by the day. So the consequences of not doing it is you just get weaker and weaker by the day physically.
Yeah.
And life becomes harder and harder to actually do. I feel great right now. But yeah, if 14-year-old, I'm trying to give you some more time.
Yeah,
if 14-year-old Ash or 15, whatever age, what age are we doing?
What we're speaking? No, 12-year-old Ash needed the wake-up
12-year-old
call.
Ash sat right here.
Yeah.
And he was just like, help me. What would you say to him?
I'd say do what you're about to do. No. Yeah.
You're crushing it, boy.
I'd really just say that don't focus too much on the aesthetics. I think I got very carried away with just that.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize the wider benefits of a healthy life and consistency. Because the thing is, when you're so tuned to just aesthetics, when you see that you're lean or you've leaned out, you have nothing else to aim for.
Yeah.
And there's no need for consistency. You get complacent, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So that would be one of my things. Don't, as much as that's a key thing and a very good aim to have, realize the wider benefits. It's very difficult as a 12-year-old, though, to convince someone about that. But I think it's all habitual. Like, make smaller changes, everything. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Don't try and set your ridiculous goals. I say that to everyone. Like, especially you just mentioned it with education. I think I see so many people that become so heavily educated on health that they try and do all these drastic changes. And it's almost a bad thing to be too educated in healthcare because you just
to get carried away with it.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, just make tiny little changes and watch everything. You go home after work, you get home 5, 6, don't snack. Yeah. Or limit your snacking. Go for popcorn rather than peanuts or whatever. I don't know. Whatever your interests are or whatever you want to reduce, if you want to reduce your salt intake, just try something different if it works for you. Yeah. And you'll do that. And I think it goes back to the book that I've not read, but you have read, Atomic Habits. But it's just making continuous continuous changes. Yeah.
Starting small is a huge deal. He talks about a lady who wanted to go to the gym every single day for a year. Yeah. And that's a big deal, right? But no, actually, all her mission was not to go to the gym every day. It was to go downstairs. She lived in New York. Go downstairs and hail a cab every single day. Yeah. The thing is, once you're in a cab, you can't go back. Right. Right. And there's countless versions of these stories. Every personal trainer will tell you a version of this story of just go to the gym for 10 minutes, lift a weight, get a feel for your surroundings, then go home. Yeah. And then you'll feel weird not going to the gym. Yeah. It's like my favorite thing, and we're not telling everyone to go become Arnold Schwarzenegger, but what he does, somebody asked him, like, why do you still work out at your age? And he goes, why do you still have breakfast at your age? It's just a thing I've been doing. It's just part of my routine.
Yeah, and it feels crazy not to.
Yeah. Yeah. So small changes is probably the best thing. Yeah. One thing that I wanted to sort of end this episode on, I've forgotten already.
It sounded quite important. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're out here talking like we're Greek gods, built like fucking units.
There's
like
definitely a comment
out
of
here.
Someone who didn't make it to this point in the episode, like, all right, lads.
All right, lads.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? We've talked about, what got us to this stage where we care about our physical health. Uh-huh. We've spoken predominantly about diet and sort of nutrition and where we're at the moment. Are you happy with where you're at the moment, and what are your goals going forwards?
Good question. I'm happy with my consistency.
Good.
I wouldn't say I'm happy with where I am, but I'm happy with my consistency because I can see a path going forward, dotted lines ahead. My goals are firstly to find all round fitness, and I know everyone wants that, but what I'm essentially saying is, so stretching, for example, I want to build back my flexibility. I'll keep this as a target episode. That's one of my targets for the next 12 months, certainly, because I'm concerned about injury now. I'm concerned about, as we age, making sure that things still work well, because the last thing I want is to have an injury and then to have to give everything up or give up the things that matter. So yeah, certainly that's something I'm not happy with. But overall, that's where I am, and continues to do it. And for me, I just love the idea of just PBs. It doesn't have to be what you lift. It could be just how many press-ups you did, or how long you held a squat for, or how many burpees you can do. Just something to keep going. That's nice.
It's the best piece of... Sorry, it's just come to my mind, and we're really running out of time because we've got a meeting after this.
Yeah.
But it's find out what about it you can love. You don't have to love diet, nutrition. You don't have to love exercise.
Right.
I learned I don't like running.
Right.
I love monitoring metrics.
Gamifying it.
Strava. Suddenly, I went from hating running to, if I increase my pace, then I run out of breath in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If I slow down my pace to a bare minute, I can run unlimited amount.
Right.
But it's not at a pace I want. And suddenly I was playing this game in my head where I was like, right, we want to do 5K in 25 minutes. Right? So I'm thinking I need to average a 5-minute kilometer pace. But actually, I can't maintain that for that long. So what if I started off really slow and then go a bit harder and then go a bit slow? It gamified it in my head. But you can apply that to everything. It's not just about, I have to love working out to go do it. No, find something in working, like you with PBs,
sure.
right? I'm sure there's moments where you're just like, I've got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
But you're like, actually, if I do this next week, I might be able to hit PB.
Yeah, completely.
Find the thing within it that you love.
Yeah. And I think the funny thing, we both know it, and is competitiveness is okay.
Yeah, it's a problem.
That could be just with yourself. Like I say, PB, beat yourself, or with others. A light competitiveness is good and healthy because it puts you in your place a little bit. Otherwise, again, you get complacent, you get fixed in your ways and so on. It's like, actually, no, he's pulling his weight. I've got to up mine. And I'd say certainly in the last month since I've been back from India, you're seeing your consistency has been a driving force for me, where even yesterday we were all chatting after our meeting and I was like, I need to go. Otherwise I'm going to feel bad and someone's going to get ahead of me.
That's what, because the people at the gym we go to have noticed it as well.
Oh, really?
We were on the assault bike.
Yeah.
And we had like certain goals within certain time frames. And one of the guys there just comes, like just before I start, just comes up and whispers in my, not whispers, but just says it in my ear, like, Ash got 27, and then walks away. And that was like, I didn't have a goal anymore. It was 27 or die.
Yeah. And it works every time.
It bloody works,
they're funny. But no, amazing. Really good to chat about this. Obviously, first of quite a few.
Yeah. Diet and nutrition. What a fast... We could talk about it all day, but
absolutely. And what we're learning as well, I'm really keen as we go along. You've got a lot to share on that you give me off camera.
Right,
so
back at you.
Let's do it. But if you enjoyed episode 1 of season 2, Director's Debrief, please do give it a like, share, tell everyone about this episode. We're really keen to develop more and more, and we're just giving genuine, heartful advice that we think is right. It's not advice, but it's advice as well.
I mean, we don't know we know what we've been through, but we don't necessarily know what we're talking about. So if you have a bit of advice, that's great. Let us know in the comments, and we might be able to learn from you.
Absolutely. I love that. All right. See you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.